A marine zoological theme park with a talent for roller coasters, SeaWorld Orlando has a rich history of entertaining guests in Central Florida with its incredible lineup of shows and attractions. But with big updates from its main competitors and a change in focus, is it still worth a trip? Hi, I'm the Frugal Brit, and for this video I'll provide a guided tour of SeaWorld Orlando before breaking down the good and the not so good things about this famous theme park. And at the end, I'll be giving my top tips to get the best out of any visit here. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future guides, reviews, and other Orlando vacation content. SeaWorld Orlando was the third theme park in the SeaWorld chain of marine parks, which opened way back in 1973 and helped to establish Orlando as a multi-park destination. Since the early 90s, SeaWorld has focused on combining animal exhibits with thrill rides, and in particular, high-speed roller coasters. And in recent years has an increased focus on animal conservation. Today, with the addition of the Aquatica and the Discovery Cove water parks, it is now part of the SeaWorld Parks and Resorts Orlando complex. SeaWorld is located right next to International Drive to the south of the Orange County Convention Center, and sort of in between Walt Disney to the south and Universal Orlando to the north. As with most major theme parks, SeaWorld Orlando is separated into different lands, or seas as they're referred to at SeaWorld, each containing its own theming element. So now it's time to give you a clockwise tour around all the main attractions. The main entrance of the park, known as the Port of Entry, contains tropical landscaping and a large artificial freshwater marina with an iconic lighthouse and several buildings themed to Key West in Florida. Beyond the Port of Entry, you'll find the Sea of Shallows, which showcases most of the park's shallow water sea animal exhibits. Straight ahead, you'll see the main SeaWorld sign for photo opportunities. The Key West theming continues with architecture and landscaping reminiscent of the area. To your right, you'll find the Dolphin Nursery, where mother dolphins nurture their newborn bottlenose dolphins, which you can view from above and under the water. The main attraction within the Sea of Shallows is the Manta steel flying roller coaster, which opened back in 2009. It allows guests to encounter numerous species of ray before boarding a manta ray-shaped train that takes them on a 3,359-foot long roller coaster ride and taunted by a head-first, face-down invested nosedive, reaching top speeds of 56 miles per hour. Arguably the best roller coaster at SeaWorld. Tucked away underneath the Manta roller coaster is the Manta Aquarium, which invites you to share in the wonders and mysteries of the sea with 10 unique and naturalistic aquariums inhabited by more than 3,000 marine animals including rays and sea dragons. At the bottom of the park we have a Stingray Lagoon, which provides an opportunity to get up close and touch the stingrays whilst gliding through their habitat's peaceful waters. At Dolphin Cove, you have one of the largest interactive dolphin pools in the world, where you can see dolphins play and jump above the water, or see them gracefully swim in the underwater viewing area. The Turtle Trek attraction provides a number of giant aquariums of turtles, manatee and other sea creatures. The highlight is the 360-degree dome projection theatre, which provides a 7-minute 3D show showing what it's like to live as a turtle. At the Manatee Rehabilitation area, visitors are invited to step behind the scenes and catch a glimpse of SeaWorld's working manatee rescue and rehabilitation facility to learn more about the plight of these vulnerable animals in the wild. The second main attraction in the Sea of Shallows is the Dolphin Stadium, home to SeaWorld's dolphin shows. The latest daytime show is Dolphin Adventures, where guests discover their natural behaviours and traits with information on how to protect the animals in the wild. Heading north now from the Sea of Shallows, we'll arrive at the much smaller Sea of Legends section, which contains some of the park's most popular attractions. First up is one of the two main attractions in this section, which is the Journey to Atlantis flume ride and roller coaster hybrid. After jumping aboard, a siren beckons your boat closer until the mythical realm of Atlantis comes into view. The boat enters the city before being carried up and out of the temple on a roller coaster chain lift hill, The boat then heads up a second hill, entering a dry flume at the top that carries the boat to the large splashdown drop. The ride finishes with a short roller coaster blast and into another pool of water. At the exit of Journey to Atlantis, you have the Jewel of the Sea Aquarium, which is an underwater world exploding with colour and luminescence. The second main attraction in the Sea of Legends is Kraken, Orlando's only flawless roller coaster, themed after a massive mythological underwater beast unleashed from the depths of the sea. Riders' feet dangle as they travel in open-sided seats, riding on a pedestal above the track at highway speeds to heights of more than 150 feet. Next door to the Sea of Legends, we have the Sea of Ice, surrounded by glacier formations, one of the smallest but newest seas at SeaWorld. Formerly known as Antarctica, themed around the Antarctic continent. Its sole attraction is Antarctica, Empire of the Penguin, which was previously a trackless motion simulator dark ride, taking guests on a journey through Antarctica by a penguin named Puck. However, in 2020, the attraction was limited, hopefully temporarily, to a short pre-show before guests are directed to the very cold penguin habitat. Heading north or east from the Sea of Ice, we'll arrive at the Sea of Delight, which includes a sub-area known as the Waterfront, which resembles a seaside Mediterranean village. To the north, just below Kraken, you'll hear the roaring sounds of sea lions and harbour seals at Pacific Point Preserve. Watch these creatures swim and play among the waves, or bask in the afternoon sun near to a flippered friend or two. At the centre of this section, you have the Sea Lion and Otter Stadium, which is home to the humorous and educational Sea Lion and Otter Spotlight presentation featuring California sea lions and Asian small-clawed otters. Just above the Manta coaster, you have the SeaPort Theatre, and prior to the pandemic, it was home to the Pets Ahoy show, featuring dogs, cats, birds and pigs, many of which were adopted from rescue organisations. Another fun show full of comedy that the kids will love, and one that will hopefully return someday. Within the Sea of Delight, you'll find the retro futuristic Sky Tower, which is a 400-foot air-conditioned tower that has stood as an icon for SeaWorld Orlando since the summer of 1974, providing capsule rides for guests with a seabird's eye view of Orlando. On a clear day, you can see all the way over to Walt Disney World. To the north of the Sea of Delight, we have the Sea of Mystery, home to some of SeaWorld Orlando's newest thrill rides. We'll start with Shark Encounter, just above the Sea Lion and Otter Stadium and above the Sky Tower. This attraction takes guests on a journey through one of the world's largest underwater viewing tunnels. Experience a rare, up-close look at prehistoric predators whose ancestors dominated the sea over 450 million years ago. Next to Shark Encounter, we have the Mako Hypercoaster, which opened in 2016, Orlando's tallest, fastest and longest roller coaster. After leaving the station, the train heads towards a 200-foot lift hill to begin its ascent, and upon reaching the top, it enters a 200-foot drop reaching speeds of up to 73 miles per hour. Guests continue through a series of turns and hills and travels over the park's lagoon before its final brake run. SeaWorld's newest attraction in this area is the Infinity Falls River Ride, which features a 40-foot drop, the tallest for a water ride, so guests should be prepared to get soaked. Guests climb aboard a raft before winding their way around flowing fountains, surprise geysers and breathtaking waterfalls as you explore tropical ruins-themed surroundings with your fellow raft mates. Then hang on as roaring rapids send you flying through chutes and splashing turns before plunging you down one of the tallest drops of its kind into churning white water. The next section for our tour is the Sesame Street Land, formerly Shamu's Happy Harbour and the Sea of Fun. This children's area located adjacent to Shamu Stadium features a variety of family activities and interactive play areas. You take a stroll down Sesame Street and stop by the famous stop at 123, explore the inside of Hooper's store, then head for Big Bird's Nest. The Sesame Street land attractions include Elmo's Choo Choo Train, Big Bird's Twirl and Whirl, Rubber Ducky Waterworks, Slimer's Slider, Cookie Drop, Abby's Flower Tower, and Super Grover's Boxcar Derby, which is a great introduction to roller coasters. For the final section of our tour, we're headed for the Sea of Power on the east side of the park, where you'll find SeaWorld's killer whale shows. We'll start with what is historically the most iconic SeaWorld attraction, the Orca Stadium, home to the Orca Encounter experience, where guests can see killer whales in a breathtaking presentation featuring the ocean's most powerful predator. This relatively new show has more of an educational focus compared to previous Orca shows. You'll witness their natural behaviours and learn more about their masterful hunting techniques, and leave with a deeper understanding of these magnificent animals. Heading east, we'll arrive at the Wild Arctic exhibit, which until fairly recently also used to contain the Wild Arctic Motion Simulator, which is almost certainly not going to be coming back, unfortunately. However, the fantastically themed base station for Wild Arctic remains, which consists of recreated Arctic research stations built around 2 sailing ships trapped in the ice, featuring beluga whales, walruses, and harbour seals. SeaWorld's newest attraction is the Icebreaker roller coaster, which opened officially to the public on 18th of February 2022. Named after the icy Arctic summits, this entry-level roller coaster features 4 airtime launches, both backwards and forwards, culminating in a reverse launch into a steep vertical drop. Whilst being the cheapest of all the big theme parks in Orlando, SeaWorld arguably has the best lineup of incredibly well choreographed shows and thrilling roller coasters. In my opinion, it does the best job when it comes to mixing entertainment with education, even more so than Disney's Animal Kingdom, I would argue. Animal conservation is the main theme throughout the park, partly amplified in response to well-known controversies. Another advantage over Disney World is that SeaWorld is nowhere near as busy, so the queues are a lot quicker, so a lot less stressful planning your day, and its small size and location makes it much easier to get to and around the park. The overall theme for SeaWorld is well executed, although all the different sections do feel very similar, and it's hard to know when you're entering or leaving any of the different seas. Despite offering such a versatile lineup of attractions for all ages, if you are planning to visit just for the rides on a quiet day, a common complaint is that there's not quite enough to make it an all-day park. This is an issue which is not helped by fairly frequent attraction closures, and the pandemic was not kind to SeaWorld in this area, and recovery does feel slower compared to other parks. However, with all that said, most people will want to experience the big shows like Orca Encounter, which do eat up a lot of time. One of the things I really appreciate about SeaWorld is how cheap its annual pass is. So I paid for the Fun Card, which gave me 14 months access to SeaWorld and Aquatica with limited blackout dates for $204. That's half the price I paid for my Universal Orlando seasonal annual pass, including Volcano Bay. There's also the occasional discount for Florida residents. Unlike Walt Disney World, SeaWorld encourages guests to visit as many times as possible with competitive annual passes, but the catch here is that there is a little bit more nickel and diming. For example, they have a strict no outside food policy, and all locker usage is paid even if mandatory. You also have to pay extra for a few things like the Sky Tower and the paddle boats. When it comes to the food, I've always found it to be satisfactory at SeaWorld. I would recommend the Sharks Underwater Grill and Bar, which is the park's signature table service restaurant. But if you're looking for a quick bite to eat, I've always found the Voyager's Smokehouse in the Sea of Delight does acceptable barbecue food, as well as the Waterway Grill next to Infinity Falls. I don't personally have any experience with the all-day dining deal, but from what I gather, it can be a good upgrade if it's not too busy. But a very common complaint is that a lot of the applicable restaurants will often be closed, which is a very big source of 1-star reviews online. So is SeaWorld Orlando worth a trip? The short answer is yes, but it does depend on the circumstances of your vacation. If you're only going to be in Orlando for less than a week and you're already planning to purchase tickets to either Disney and/or Universal, you won't have time to visit all of those parks comfortably, so it might not make financial sense to also purchase a ticket to SeaWorld as well. But SeaWorld does complement an Orlando vacation very nicely, providing an inspiring and educational experience for all age groups with thrilling rides and coasters, a package you'll struggle to find anywhere else. So to start my top tips for visiting SeaWorld Orlando, I'll begin with the standard essential theme park tips. So the best tip, as with probably every theme park, is to arrive at the gate around 30 minutes prior to official park opening. Whilst this isn't as crucial as with Disney and Universal, you should aim to ride as many of the big attractions as you can in those first 2 hours or the last 2 hours in the evening. But do know that some of the attractions in the park will close an hour early in the evening, so you'll want to get the most out of your morning. My next tip is to buy your park tickets online in advance to save money. So for the SeaWorld group of parks, which involves SeaWorld, Aquatica, Busch Gardens or Adventure Island, you can choose between a ticket with admission to 1, 2, 3 or 4 of those parks. If you do go for the 4-park ticket, this will be valid for 14 days, and if you're from the UK and Ireland, you'll only need a 2 or a 3-park ticket to get the 14 days. If you do plan on visiting the Discovery Cove water park, where guests can interact with dolphins and other marine animals, then keep in mind that there are several ticket options that will give unlimited visits to SeaWorld and other parks. Once you have purchased your tickets, be sure to register with and download the SeaWorld app and familiarise yourself with the park. If you're very limited on time for your visit to SeaWorld, you have the option to pay around $35 for the quick queue service to skip the main queue on certain attractions, but this price will depend on the date of visit. You also get the option to pay for reserved seating at the main shows, so you don't have to waste time arriving early for these. I don't have any experiences with these services, as I tend to only visit on quiet days, but from what I gather, a good option for those limited for time, but not essential by any means. Personally, I find that arriving early and just avoiding the weekends, holidays and the busy summer months is the best way to reduce your wait times. I will also say that if you arrive early, the preferred parking upgrade is not likely to be worth it. One of the most important things to do when visiting SeaWorld is to check the times for all the shows that you want to see, and then plan your day around being in the right place at the right time so you don't miss out on these. As touched on earlier, to make sure you get a seat for these shows, you'll want to arrive 30 minutes prior to when the show starts. It can feel like dead time, but my advice would be to use this as a bit of relaxation. The most popular coaster at SeaWorld is Manta, located near the park entrance, so naturally picks up some of the longest lines, especially within the first 2 to 3 hours of park opening. If you aren't in the park first thing, then I think it's generally better to wait and ride later on after guests have moved on to other parts of the park. The morning is a good opportunity to see the dolphins in the Dolphin Nursery, as the dolphins are more active at this time. A good time to visit Manta would be when one of the big shows is about to start, which is a good tip for all the rides and for planning what time to eat. As mentioned earlier in the video, you will be charged whenever you need to use one of the lockers, but if you anticipate that you'll need it quite a lot, then definitely consider paying for the multi-use locker for $8, which gives you a bit more freedom. But just remember though, that you'll still be limited to 2 hours each time per use. Well, I hope that's everything covered. Thank you for watching. Do check out my other guides and reviews. Don't forget to subscribe for future content and hit the bell so you don't miss out when new videos are posted.